Hi everyone. I want to talk today about how the reaction will be from Trump supporters if Trump loses the 2024 election. This is obviously on a lot of people's minds because of what happened the last time that he lost the election, January 6th and all, the riots. And yeah, it's just something interesting to look at and something we need to be cautious about. So I thought I would read this. This was on Slate, so it was a scenario that was posited in their advice column to Jim Newell. And it says, "I live in Trump country. I'm terrified of what will happen if he loses." So it says, quote, "I live in a small city that's something of a borderland between a very liberal section of my pale blue state and a more conservative part of it. It seems to be getting slowly more liberal, but is largely conservative. Think big Trump signs, giant pickups with Punisher stickers, and lots of blue line flags." So that's Back the Blue, for those of you who don't know it. It's solidarity with police officers. "I've never had any specific negative political interactions in the 6 years we've lived here, but that being said, I've always been hesitant to put political signs on our lawn. Nothing happened right after the election last time, and it hadn't occurred to me to worry about that. But with January 6th and all the violent, vengeful rhetoric since then, I've been anxious that something terrible will happen, either nationally or locally, if he loses." So let me give my opinion on this. Yeah, there's a lot of there, and I would certainly agree with this person that Trump's rhetoric is exponentially worse now, and it was exponentially worse in 2023 and 2022 than it was during the 2020 election. And that's saying something. That's not a low bar, because if you recall, he was trashing mail-in voting in the 2020 election. He retweeted a video where someone said that the only good Democrat is a the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. So he was not behaving well during the 2020 election. I think ever since then, we've seen that he certainly wasn't at his worst point in 2020. I mean, we've heard him talk about terminating the Constitution. He has referred to Democrats and his political opponents as vermin. He has quoted Adolf Hitler saying that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Most recently, I think his divisive tactic of the day has been the Haitian migrant stories, which have turned out to be just hoaxes, unsubstantiated, and that not even Vivek Ramaswamy could get behind. So, yeah, he's amped up the rhetoric. It started off pretty forceful in 2016. It got worse in 2020, and it's really reached what I would say is a fever pitch in the year 2024. He's running against Kamala Harris. He's very angry that the polls kind of show them roughly tied, even Harris winning in some of the swing states, and that's a big deal. She humiliated him on the debate stage, and yeah, there have been 2 assassination attempts against him, both unsuccessful, both despicable, and both should be condemned. And what we've seen from his supporters, so we've talked about Trump now, let's talk about how his supporters feel, is a lot of them seem to be of the belief that, well, these shooters don't just happen in a vacuum. They weren't just one-offs. This was twice within 2 months, July and then September. And a lot of them will say, oh, they tried to kill Trump. They did it. And it's like, well, at this point, there were 2 of them, so technically they did. But they said that when there had only been 1 attempted assassin, they were referring to them as they, as if they were part of the deep state or something, like the CIA or something, and they're trying to stop Trump. So they're already kind of laying the groundwork to be like, the establishment is out to kill our candidate. They're putting everything in it to make sure that Kamala Harris wins and that Trump loses. I think that the number of pro-Trump people, not just people who vote for Trump, but even people who are sympathetic to him, who think that the election was stolen if Kamala Harris wins, will be at least a third, maybe even over 50%. I think there will be a lot of very peeved right-wingers if Kamala Harris wins. And likewise, I think there will be a lot of left-wingers angry if Trump wins, obviously. But that's not the subject of this video. But yeah, we're a lot more prepared this time, I would say, in terms of knowing the gravity of the consequences if Trump wins. I mean, we'll certainly be prepared more for something like January 6th, an event like that taking place, because it kind of came as a surprise to a lot of people. January 6th did at the time. Now we kind of understand this is who Trump is. He's going to try and, in a more passive aggressive way, egg on something while also saying, you should be peaceful too, to try and avoid liability. You know, he's sleazy like that. He's not an unintelligent man. He's very crafty. So, yeah, there's that concern. There's the riot concern. There's also the concern about, local level neighborly conflict. Will angered Trump supporters start torching their neighbors' Kamala Harris signs if Trump wins? I'm inclined to doubt it. I feel like some of their anger is more directed at what they perceive to be the evil power structures, and that would be, again, like the whole "they tried to kill Trump" thing. The Democrats in D.C., not so much getting angry about a neighbor who has a Kamala Harris sign on their lawn or a "hate has no home" sign on their lawn. So I'm less inclined to believe that there will be just gratuitous violence from Trump supporters against people who voted for Kamala Harris or people who they know are left-leaning generally. I think that most people, even if they vote for a candidate who is unhinged, most of them are fairly disciplined. They have other things to do. And even if they see Trump basically as a god, they're not going to go actually assault people who don't worship the God that they worship, which at this point, I think it's fair to say that many Trump supporters do worship him. They are in a cult. There have been polls which show they actually trust Trump more than they would trust a family member or a religious figure, and that's very concerning. But I don't think we should sweat too much about the violence against individuals. I think it would be more like systemic violence, essentially violence against our institutions, another January 6th type thing, which of course did have physical violence, but not to the extent that it really could have. So do I think that it's likely there will be at least some violence? Yes, I do. Do I think that it will be massive and pervasive? Probably not. I do not think that there will be large-scale fights breaking out over political candidates. I just don't see it happening. So that's my take on this Trump country and how they'll react if he loses thing. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you think I'm wrong, if you think that there's something really evil lurking behind the end of this election, that Trump has a plan in store to just incite anger and violence among his supporters and actually get people killed. Let me know if you have more fear about this, because I want to comfort you. I do. I think everyone should be comfortable, and hopefully we can ease those fears. So as always, if you like this video, if you found it interesting, insightful, or helpful, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this channel. I really do appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.